Hello, everybody. My name is Anish Gupta, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth NFL podcast, bringing you the cold hard truth on everything football. Now, draft season is fast approaching. We're literally like 2.5 weeks away. So without further ado, here's going to be my first mock draft on this channel for 2022. We're going to do a couple more before the draft gets going, and I got a couple more scouting reports. They're in the works. They're on its way. But yeah, for this video, we're going to do a full first round 2022 mock draft with PFF's mock draft simulator. So without further ado, let's get right into it. But before we do, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Helps us out a ton, and we truly appreciate it. And while you're down there, turn on the post notification bell for more football content like this. So let's get into it. Well, all right, so here is the mock draft simulator. It's via PFF, as I said earlier. So we're going to do this live. We're going to go quick picks. And yes, there are going to be trades in this. I've got a couple trades in mind that I wanted to do. So let's get right into it. At first overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Here again, same as last year. I think, first let's start this draft. I think it's pretty obvious where they're going to go here just because they did franchise tag Cam Robinson and they got Brandon Sheriff. They got to go with Aiden Hutchinson. I'm going to draft him really quick and explain why. Again, I think he's the most polished edge rusher in this class. He also had a great combine. And yeah, his arms are a little bit small, so offensive linemen will be at an advantage. But I think, he's got a lot of fixable traits, and he'll be great for that defense alongside Josh Allen. So let's keep going. With the Detroit Lions, I'm going to have to search it up here. I'm going to go with Travon Walker, the edge out of Georgia. I don't think it should be a debate about whether Walker or Hutchinson should go first, but I think Travon Walker does have a lot of upside. Again, the 4.5, 40 at his size is crazy. And I think, yeah, he didn't have the production. He had, I think, only 6 sacks his final year. And he was also alongside Devondre Wyatt and Jordan Davis. But with that Lions edge rush, they need it, and I think Travon Walker has the most upside out of any Georgia defensive player, so he's going to go there at number 2. Now, at pick 3, look, I know people are saying Thibodeau might slide, and people are saying all these weird things about him. I completely disagree. Obviously being a Pac-12 scout, my staff raves about how good Kayvon Thibodeau is, and that's the best way you can tell about a prospect is you ask about their rival schools. And everybody in the Pac-12 raves about him. He is a stud. He's been, the number one recruit for this class for a long time, the number one player in this class for a long time, and for very good reason. He's got very good hands. He's a very polished edge rusher. Sure, maybe people notice the lack of effort, but I mean, when he's on, he is on. And I think the Texans get a stud there at number 3. Now, at pick 4 for the Jets, I'm going to go with Ike Ekwonu out of NC State. Now, you may be asking, why didn't I go with Evan Neal? My reason is this. Ekwonu, sorry, messing up his name, but Ekwonu ran a outside run zone scheme at NC State. And what did the Jets run? The same thing. So I think Ekwonu is a better fit for them. And I think, alongside Mekhi Becton, who is just really big, like he's too big. And I think that leads to a lot of these injuries that we're seeing out of him last couple of years. So you need a guy who can, provide some stability at left or right tackle. And I think Ekwonu is that guy. So at pick 5 here, this one for me is very interesting for the Giants. I think you see it on the screen, the needs are offensive line. I think this is where Evan Neal will go. Obviously, he's been the consensus number 1 tackle out of this class. People had the Jags kind of taking him at number 1, but I think with the moves they've made in free agency, I think it's safe to say that Neal will be sliding. And the Giants get an absolute stud here at pick number 5. And hey, I would love this pick in real life. And again, he gives some stability to an offensive line that really hasn't been good in a long, long time. Now at pick 6, here it is. You see it right there, the needs of quarterback, and I finally got a quarterback going off the board. Now you see all of them here. It's going to be Malik Willis. It's going to be Malik Willis, and here's why. I think the Panthers are a very aggressive front office. David Tepper is the most aggressive owner in the league. Matt Rule wants to save his job, and with Malik Willis, you get upside. So even if he doesn't work out the first year, you can always say, hey, he's learning, let him grow. Obviously, Matt Rule, if you guys did not know this, actually recruited Kenny Pickett, and he committed to Temple before going to Pitt. So, there's a little bit of history there. So that's why I was very hesitant. at first on, maybe going Kenny Pickett, but I just think Malik Willis here, just because of the upside and the flashy name, I think is going to give the Panthers a little bit more box office type of, games. So Malik Willis at number 6, I'm pretty confident in that. Now at pick number 7, people thought he would slide. I don't think he's going to slide that far. Kyle Hamilton is an absolute stud at safety. With Logan Ryan and or Jabril Peppers is now a Patriot, and then Logan Ryan is gone. You need a guy there that can kind of man down the safety spot alongside Xavier McKinney, and Kyle Hamilton is exactly that. He's probably one of the best DB prospects Notre Dame has ever had. And don't let his slow 40-yard dash fool you, because he plays really fast in pads, especially sideline to sideline. Now, we got our first trade here at pick number 8. You see, PFF does these little teams that are interested in the pick. It's going to be none of these teams, actually. It's going to be with the New York Jets. I have the Falcons trading down, and here's why. The Jets see Seattle right in front of them, and Seattle is in a need of a corner. And I think the Jets go up here, and they give their 10th overall selection. I think they give a second-round pick and a future 5th for the Falcons' 8th pick and around a 5th-round pick this year. And I'm going to force this trade because they're probably not going to be interested in it. But yeah, I think this is what goes down. And I think the Jets go all the way up to 8. And here's who they're going to take. You know who they're going to take. They're going to take Sauce Gardner at pick 8. Hopefully he can have a Darrelle Revis type impact for this team, but he had one of the best defensive back seasons for a corner ever. He didn't allow a touchdown all years there, and he played on an island. He had some tough competition. Obviously, he did well against J-Mo in the college football playoff. He's 6'2". He's got the size. He's got the speed. He's got the length. And the Jets would love to have that number 1 corner kind of lock it up at pick 8. And the Falcons can trade back. You'll see why. Because, they'd probably want a receiver at that pick, and there's a plethora to get at pick 10. So now Seattle's kind of thrown off, right? Where do they go? Maybe they wanted Sauce Gardner. I don't think they take a chance on Stingley, and instead I think they go with Charles Cross, the tackle out of Mississippi State. I think Seattle knows that they need to get better in the trenches. That's one of the reasons why Russell Wilson was so, frustrated in the first place. And they just really haven't had anything there. Like, what are we going to talk about? Fant, Ifidi, they just lost Ethan Posich too. Like, they need some help there. And I think Charles Cross is going to be a good, solid tackle for them. Now at pick 10, we're going to go to the Atlanta Falcons, and at pick 10, we're going to snag them a receiver. It's not going to be Drake London. It's going to be Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson is right now the best receiver in the class because J-Mo obviously tore his ACL. And I think him alongside Ridley in a couple years will be deadly if they keep him. But for right now, it's going to give at least a target that Marcus Mariota can throw to alongside Kyle Pitts. And yeah, Garrett Wilson is the best route runner in this class. He's going to have a ton of upside in the ATL over there. So now at pick 11, obviously Washington has been mocked to Garrett Wilson a lot, right? So now with him being gone, who are they going to take? Are they going to still go receiver? Or are they going to man up the front 7 again? I don't think they do that just because of all the draft capital they've spent on the front 7. So they're going to go with another receiver here, and this is where they get Drake London. And my reasoning for that is, you've got Terry McLaurin, a guy who's a number 1, can go run any route, right? Inside the numbers, outside the numbers. Drake London is your guy that you just line up at X and you throw it down the field, for a jump ball, and he's going to get it. And for Carson Wentz, now you have 2 receivers who've got all the upside in the world. I think this is going to be big for a Washington team that just needs offensive production badly. Carson Wentz has a way better arm than Taylor Heineke, and Drake London's one of those guys that you can just say, hey, screw it, I'm throwing it up there and hoping he catches it, and he's going to come down with a lot of those 50-50 jump balls. So Drake London at 11. Now the Vikings, I think everybody is seeing this coming. It's Derek Stingley. He's got the most upside out of maybe anyone in this draft. Like, this guy is crazy good. He was the best corner in the entire nation his freshman year. And obviously with some injuries, a little bit of a down year last year, there's some concerns, but he did well at his pro day. And I think the Vikings have got to take him here, especially because they are in dire need of a good defensive back. They literally had to let go of Jeff Gladney due to, personal reasons. And I think Patrick Peterson would love to coach, and help out a LSU DB who wore number 7, the same one as him. So here we go at Texans pick 13. I've got another trade. And the reason why I'm going to trade this pick is because the simple fact that, look, the Texans want to keep accumulating capital, and I don't think with the players here, I feel like they can get a player that they would want later. And the team that I'm going to trade them up with is the LA Chargers. And I have the Chargers giving them the pick 17. I think they part ways with their third and a 2023 third for the Texans 13th, and then, a 7th round pick. And maybe like another, 6th round pick next year. So I'm going to, it says this trade will likely be accepted. We're just going to force it to make things quicker. So this is kind of what's going to go down. The Chargers go up to pick 13. And I don't know why it says needs of receiver, especially with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams locked up. I know they need a slot guy, but here is where they're going to go with Jordan Davis. Now everyone's going to be freaking out about that one, huh? That front seven is going to be scary. And Jordan Davis, obviously, we saw at his size, he's like over 300 pounds and he ran like a 4.7 40. That's going to be really scary with what the Chargers are trying to do. That defense already has JCJ. Like, they are loaded on defense. And on offense, I think they're already okay. You could potentially argue they could go tackle here just because Brian Bulaga has been pretty disappointing for them. But I think they can wait a couple rounds for that. And, maybe in round 2, maybe get like Ryman, right. I know he's ranked pretty high according to PFF, but I think they can wait for him. So at pick 14, I think the Ravens have got to go with a DB here that just can help them, in all facets. And I think that's where they go with the Pac-12 guy, represent Trent McDuffie out of Washington. Seen a lot of mocks about McDuffie to the Ravens, and why not? He's a ultra hybrid corner who plays really physical, and his backpedaling is second to none. Even if he gets beat past the 5 yards, he can make a play on the ball late. So I love McDuffie here at 14 to the Ravens. Now at pick 15, we see the Eagles' needs at linebacker. I know they got Kazir White. Man, Devin Lloyd is just it's irking them because I actually mocked Parsons to the Eagles last year, and man, Devin Lloyd just right there. They gotta take him, so I got him going with Devin Lloyd. I think the gap between Lloyd and Nakobe Dean is pretty wide, wider than people think, and I don't think the Eagles want to wait around to get Nakobe Dean. So you get a stud here in Devin Lloyd, who's ultra physical. He's got this perfect frame. He can play inside. He's great against the A and B gap, stuffing the run. He's just, he's got all the tools you want in a great linebacker. And again, another Pac-12 guy off the board. So now at pick 16, where do the Saints go? This is the one that's interesting, right? They've been recently mocked to kind of move up for a guy like Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis. But guess who's available? It's Kenny Pickett, and we're going to select him here. Kenny Pickett, we're selecting him for the reason that, look, no one took him before. No one traded up in my mock draft, and they're just going to sit here and take him right away. They don't want any risks at pick 17 or 18. You just get your guy, a guy who offers stability, something that, Jameis Winston really doesn't have. And you get a guy who had the best season out of any, quarterback in this draft last year. So Kenny Pickett goes to the Saints, and I'm very happy about that as a Kenny Pickett fan. Now, at pick 17, you're thinking, okay, where did the Texans go here? It's interesting. I actually got him mocked taking Devontae Wyatt, defensive lineman for Georgia. And the Texans just man up that front seven. They need it. Their pass rush was really bad last year. And that caused their back end to be worse as well. But you get two guys who are ultra productive and really high upside players in Devontae Wyatt and Kayvon Thibodeau. And you've got yourself a front seven. I think both of those guys will make an immediate impact for Houston. And they've got a lot of capital in the backgrounds and future, too, to go offense. But I think right now you solidify that front seven, which is so important in today's NFL. Now, at pick 18, the Eagles do need a DB because I don't want Avonte Maddox as their cornerback, too. So alongside Darius Slay, we're going to go with Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson. A lot of people think he's a very underrated prospect. I agree. He plays very physical. He's tall. He's lanky. And he, again, I've already said this about McDuffie, but he's great at, when the ball is in the air, playing physical football. And I think Eagles would love to get him at pick 18. So now the Saints, they're going to stay at pick 19 here. And we finally got another receiver going off the board. It's not going to be J-Mo. It's Chris Olave. And a lot of Saints fans would love that. So shout out my Saints fans out there. to pair, him with another Ohio State product in Michael Thomas, that's going to be lethal. Like Chris Olave may not be, your true not wide receiver one, but a guy who's quick, can run the deep ball alongside Michael Thomas will get you those, 5 to 10 yard catches. Oh, man, that Saints offense could be really scary alongside Alvin Kamara. So I got Olave going at 19. Now at pick 20 here, you're thinking, okay, do the Steelers go quarterback? Because now Pickett and Willis are off the board. They do not. I have the Steelers going with tackle Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. I really don't know why Bernard Ryman is ranked above him. Trevor Penning is a physical freak, and I love the way he can block at the second level. His hand technique is really, really up there. I would put him with the big three of Charles Cross, Evan Neal, and Ikwonu. I think he's that good, and the Steelers need to wrap up that O-line, for Najee Harris and whoever's going to be, starting for them in that backfield. Probably Mitchell Trubisky, but yeah, they need offensive line badly, and I think they get it up here with Trevor Penning. Now, the Patriots at pick 21, it's tempting. It's tempting to go receiver. It really is. But I'm not, and I'm going to go with the edge from Florida State, Jermaine Johnson II. For me, he just seems like a Patriots player. He just seems like a guy who, could transform for them like how they developed Chandler Jones. I know they're not the same position, but Jermaine Johnson II, he's a guy that's a very high upside player out of Florida State. And he just feels like a guy that the Patriots would draft here. I just don't think the Pats would take a chance on JMO, who, has the ACL. They probably want guys that are solidified, or at least they can, build and develop rather than having to wait on the injury. So I got Jermaine Johnson II going to the Pats. Now, 22, do the Packers take a receiver? I mean, they've been mocked so many times to take one in the last couple of years, and they haven't. They got to, man. They've got to. And I got them taking Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. I love his tape. I've seen all the mocks to A.J. Brown. He is a bona fide number one receiver, 6'3", can run any route, can catch any ball, and they'll use him so much the way they use Devontae Adams. I mean, bubble screens, quick passes, down the field, glance routes, flies. He's perfect for them. They got to go with Treylon Burks here. Yes, the cold weather will be maybe a bit concerning for a guy who's been a Southern kid all his life, but no. I mean, when you get Aaron Rodgers throwing you the football, you will find a way to make plays. So now the Cardinals here, they get pretty fortunate. They are in dire need of a center without Rodney Hudson. They're going to get Tyler Linderbaum here out of Iowa. Again, a Big Ten offensive lineman. You know how those boys play. They're very physical. He's a physical freak. And I think he's going to be great for that Cardinals team that really needs some O-line help for Kyler Murray, especially in the interior. Now the Cowboys, it's really weird to see what the Cowboys are going to do here. I got a bold pick though. It's going to be Nakobe Dean, the linebacker out of Georgia. We've seen them struggle with Jalen Smith. LVE has struggled to stay healthy. Nakobe Dean is a stud from Georgia. As much as I think Devin Lloyd is better, you can't deny that Nakobe Dean is the top 2 linebacker in this draft. He was very instrumental in that defense, allowing less than 10 points a game. And the Cowboys need that type of help because they do want to put Parsons at edge. We've seen that. We've seen Dan Quinn say that. So Nakobe Dean at linebacker is going to be very helpful for this team. So let's move on to the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills here, they need a DB alongside Tre'Davious White. I think they do. And I think they take Kyer Elam out of Florida. The fact that he slipped this far is honestly in my draft is pretty surprising, but you get a corner that you can put right alongside Tre'Davious White. I had them taking Asante Samuel Jr. last year, so they kind of make up for it. And Elam from Florida, a guy, again, physical corner. He's really good with his hands. I think he's a ball hawk, and I think he's going to be great for the Buffalo Bills. Now the Titans, this is probably one of the most underrated picks in the draft. And I think probably, if this actually were to happen, this would probably be the biggest steals. George Karlaftis goes to the Titans here out of Purdue, the edge. The Titans pass rush took a big step forward last year with Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry. But if you get a guy in Karlaftis who can line up alongside those guys, man, that's a really scary defensive front. I don't get the receiver need. I know A.J. Brown is, kind of their only guy, but I just don't think they take a chance on any of the receivers in round 1. I think they rate on round 2 with, how loaded this class is. So now the Bucs at 27, for the Tampa Bay Bucks, it's really, I think, just replacing the loss of Alex Kappa. And I think in terms of interior O linemen, I'm not going to go with Zion Johnson. I'm going to go with Kenyon Green, the Texas A&M guy. He's a Southern guy, warm weather player. It's going to be an easy transition to Tampa Bay. And again, he's a high upside guard. So I think that's what the Tampa Bay Bucks need. He'll play alongside, again, Ryan Jensen, who re-signed, Tristan Wirfs, Donovan Wilson. It's going to be a great offensive line for Tom Brady heading into year 23, 24. So, I mean, he's incredible. So the Packers are going to, now that they got the receiver, I don't think they double up. On receiver. I think this is where they take Zion Johnson out of Boston College. I know I'm weird with the weather, but I think he's just a typical, blue-collar type of player in the trenches, very physical with the run game. Boston College had that crazy start in 2021. He was a big part of that for their offense. I think he helps out Aaron Rodgers because, they might have to move Eldon Jenkins to tackle. So Zion Johnson will be a big help there in the interior offensive line. With Bakhtiari coming back too, I think that's going to be huge for the Packers heading into 2022. Now for the Chiefs, this is my favorite pick of the entire draft. And I'm going to click it right away. Jameson Williams to the Chiefs. Look, I'm probably the highest guy you will ever have on Jameson Williams. And I'm an Ohio State, fan too. So this guy is just incredible. I think he was one of Alabama's biggest impact players, and you could see it in the national championship. If this guy is healthy and he can play the way he was playing for the Chiefs, oh my God, it's going to be so scary. That Chiefs receiving core, because Juju Smith-Schuster is just not a one in my opinion. This guy, Jameson Williams, is. And you got a core of, J-Mo, Juju, and MVS. Man, Chiefs will be continuing to be scary. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm going to actually search this guy up for the next pick. It's going to be Logan Hall, defensive lineman out of Houston. Very physical defensive lineman, interior. The Chiefs kind of need that with Chris Jones, just, again, flip-flopping with edge and interior. I think they move Chris Jones to edge permanently, and that's going to be really lethal just because of how quick he can get off and how physical he is, especially with that hand technique he has. So that's going to be my pick, Logan Hall here. And my final trade of the draft, this is probably the boldest pick I have here. The Bengals at pick 31. Everyone's thinking, do they go with another offensive lineman here or a cornerback? I think they wait and take Kyler Gordon in the second round. So that means who's going to trade for this pick? You see me scrolling. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to give their next year's first. They're going to give I think this is a 4th round pick or a 3rd round pick, and another pick this year for the Bengals, 31. And they'll get a 4th and then a future 6th. I'm going to force this trade here. And the Steelers move up all the way, and you know why. They're going to take a quarterback here. And who are they going to take? Who do you guys think they're going to take? It's a bold pick. It's a really bold pick. But it's going to be Desmond Ridder. And now you're thinking, what the hell? Ridder? You're going to trade up for Desmond Ridder? Here's my thoughts. Mike Tomlin met with him. He went early to Cincinnati's pro day, and they've already had a virtual meeting with Desmond Ridder. And he just seems to me like a Steelers guy. He's not, this mobile, flashy dude. He's just a guy that simply gets the job done and wins. And I think he has I heard that the meeting went well. Mike Tomlin loves him. And you might have to trade up for him. I don't think he'll slip past pick 40. So the Steelers trade up in a blockbuster division rival trade, and they get their quarterback here. Now, the final pick of the draft, I got another quarterback going. It's going to be Matt Corral to Detroit, and it's going to finish up here. But Matt Corral to Detroit, I love the pick. I think he is going to be a tremendous quarterback in this league, given a good situation. And I think he can learn behind Jared Goff. I think the Lions need to build up their offensive staff a bit. But barring the injury, it'll give him time to recover, and it'll give him time to learn. But I would love Matt Corral to go to Detroit. So to round it out, this is my mock draft. I had, I think, 3 or 4 trades in there. I loved every pick that I made. There were a couple bold ones. Obviously, the Desmond Ridder one is going to shock some people. Maybe, Karlaftis slipping pretty far. That's another one. But I think everything else made sense. Maybe Trayvon Walker, if you guys have problems with that at pick 2, let me know. But I don't think there were any surprising, move ups or surprising slips other than, the bold ones I had. But let me know what you guys think. I had a lot of fun making this. This has been Anish from the Cold Hard Truth NFL podcast, and we will see you next time.